Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel and welcome to another round of Championship predictions. It's the third in this 3-game week we've been busy focusing on this past 7 days. And yes, some interesting results we've had too, haven't we? So we've got another full programme this weekend. Then it's a bit of a breather. We can all go and lie down somewhere and come back ready for the Christmas programme, which starts on the weekend of 19th, 20th of December, I think. Well, it does. And then it runs into the Boxing Day games, all of that. So this is it then for the final chapter of this week. Full programme Friday, Saturday and Monday is the final match this weekend. So what happened in the week then? We had some interesting results again, and this time last week I was sat here talking about Coventry having a 10-point lead, were they marching off into the distance? No, they weren't. Middlesbrough had other ideas, and they have pulled back half of that allocation of points in just the blink of an eye. And it's what can happen in these busy weeks. Coventry just picked up the 1 point and Middlesbrough won both their matches. There's the 5 points difference. So it's just a 5-point gap now we're looking at, which is, as we know, just said, could be easily disappear. So there's plenty to play for at the top. Coventry, we're always probably going to have a little bit of a stumble. It's how they react to that now, and I'm sure Frank has got all his experience ready to offload onto his charges for this weekend. Usual suspects battling away for the playoff places. Millwall, Ipswich, Preston and Hull are the current shirt wearers in the playoff zone. Everybody else battling away underneath. And then at the bottom, Sheffield Wednesday, of course. And then we've got Norwich, who picked up a useful point at Sheffield United midweek. But it still means they're 5 points adrift. But they've had such a poor start. Just to be still having a chance to recover things is probably as good as they can expect at the moment. Portsmouth are still in the bottom 3 as well after a 1-0 defeat. They just can't score at the moment, Portsmouth. They're trying everything, I think, trying all different combinations. It's just not happening for them. And we'll see who they've got and how they're going to get on this weekend. But at the moment, it's a bit doom and gloom living in the area. You get the vibe. And they're all a bit downhearted around me at the moment. But we shall see how it all starts to pan out. So there we are. Let's get stuck into the games then. Oh, just first of all, I always like to do this. Bit of a stats man, as you probably know if you watch regularly. 5 teams are in with a chance of having what I call the perfect 3-game week and picking up 9 points. They are Middlesbrough, QPR, Swansea, interestingly, and QPR, interestingly, really, Ipswich and Southampton, who have been on decent runs recently. So there's the 5 teams that can go home with a nap hand of points this week. We shall see. And we start Friday night with West Bromwich Albion against Sheffield United. Now, West Brom have had a couple of defeats recently, and it's seen them slide to 16th. And the latest of those was a 3-2 loss at Southampton. Sounds closer than it was, I think. I didn't see the game, but I know they were 3-0 down in the first half. West Brom got it back to 3-2. Southampton probably took their eye off the ball for a little bit, but just in time ran out the winners. And Sheffield United had a 1-1 home draw with Norwich after taking the lead, so they'd be disappointed not to have seen that out. And Norwich will be happy to have picked up a decent away point. So I think, though, although Sheffield United are having an uptick now, aren't they, under Chris Wilder, it's West Bromwich Albion, I think, that on Friday night will take the winners' podium. I'm going to say West Bromwich Albion 2, Sheffield United 1. I forgot they were playing for a minute. Sheffield United 1. I think West Brom will just nick it on Friday night. 10 games on Saturday, 3 of those at lunchtime. The first of those listed is Norwich City against Southampton. I read somewhere this week that Southampton have now scored 21 goals in their last 7 matches, averaging 3 a match since Will Still left them. Yes, so they've certainly had an uptick of form. They had one loss, didn't they, to Millwall? But even then, even their fans were saying that we didn't mind that match because it was still played in the same spirit, the same way, and Millwall were just better on the night in the 2 boxes. So Southampton fans happy, very happy chapesses at the moment. I think they'll add another 3 goals to keep up that current average. And I think it's going to be Norwich that are runners up in this one. Norwich City 1, Southampton 3. Oxford against Preston. Now, Preston are still in the top 6, but they're just plodding along a little bit. They need to get a win under their belts, I think, to just re-establish themselves again as the markers they've put down. Oxford, as I say, they're holding the berth just above the relegation line at the moment. They're on 19 points. Portsmouth have a game in hand over them because of the Charlton one last week, of course. So it's still all up. They're still in dire trouble. And I think they're going to be in a little bit more trouble at the end of this one. I'm going to take Preston to nick the points and get the win they need to get back a little bit back on track as such. So Oxford United 1, Preston 2. Always difficult to go there at the moment, Oxford, but I think Preston will just nick that one. Now, Stoke City surprised me a bit. I hadn't really checked the stats on them until before I started this, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. I hadn't realised their run was so poor. So they're out of the top 6, down into 8th as a result of that. And they will now need to sort of steady the ship a little bit. And Swansea come to town on the back of 2 wins, one of the 5 teams that can have this magic 3 matches. But I think this is where Stoke will probably sort of puff their chests out a bit and say, hang on a minute, we're not going to bin this good start totally as we go into the Christmas period when the games come thick and fast once again. And I think they'll stand up and get the points. So I'm going to say Stoke City 2, Swansea City 0. Stoke going down to Ipswich in midweek. And Swansea, of course, having that narrow win over Portsmouth, I should just add. Birmingham City against Charlton. Birmingham went down to QPR away. Charlton, as I say, oh yes, I must mention this. In the Charlton game against Middlesbrough, the referee, pat on the back. I didn't pick up his name, as I should have done. Whoever he was, pat on the back to him. He stopped the match on the 12th minute for the minute's applause that Charlton wanted to do in respect of Norman Barker, Headphones Norm, who passed away so sadly last weekend. The referee stopped the match so that all the players could actually embrace themselves properly in the minutes sort of celebration, if you like, of his life that was going on around the ground. I thought that was absolutely tremendous. I don't know how much press it got, but it should have got more than some of the other stuff we read about sometimes. So very, very well done to the referee for doing that. Because, yes, clubs do their club thing, don't they? They put a picture up on the board and people applaud, but the game doesn't normally get stopped, and that's the key thing. Well done to the referee for allowing that. I think that just deserved a mention. But Charlton didn't fare too much under his refereeing stewardship. They went down to Middlesbrough, and I think they're going to go down again in this one to Birmingham. So I'm going to take Birmingham to carry on their momentum at home. Birmingham City 3, Charlton 1. Coventry against Bristol City is next up now. Coventry had a 1-each draw. Preston, no disrespect to that, but on the back of their other couple of dodgy results lately, flaky results, they've, I say, lost their 10-point cushion, which probably was never going to be extended, but in this league it just is very difficult. And Bristol City, having a little bit of a stumble again, they went down at home to Millwall last weekend, as we know. All that went off there, but they did have a decent comeback on Tuesday. I suppose they were 2-0 down to Leicester at half time, not really laying a proper glove on them. 4 flip round in the second half for the first minute goal in the second half for Bristol City, and they clawed it back as the half went on and could well have won the game. I'm not sure that would have been deserved, but however, honours even was probably the right result. And I think honours even again, I might be a bit heart over head, being my Bristol City, my Bristol City ties. But I'm going to take them to get a 2-each draw in a high-scoring one. Coventry City 2, Bristol City 2. Takes us on to Ipswich Town. Leicester against Ipswich. Ipswich, they were a sort of a tough 1-0 win over Stoke, but the goal was scored in the second minute, and that was it. Everyone went home with a 1-0 scoreline. Leicester, as I say, had that draw. I think another draw here. I think Ipswich will they have just got that renewed confidence about them at the moment. Kieran McKenna's got them playing again. He's got them in the championship mode. Perhaps that's what he had to do. Leicester City 2, Ipswich 2. Big goals about, I think. On to Middlesbrough now. Can Middlesbrough, if Coventry drop points against Bristol City, can Middlesbrough take advantage? I think they will. They're playing Queen's Park Rangers, so this is a battle of two teams. So one of these two teams can't have the perfect week because they're 2 of the 5 and they're playing each other. There we go. So Middlesbrough against QPR. I think QPR are just showing glimpses all the time, aren't they? And so much so they're into 7th place, by the way. But I think Middlesbrough will feel they've got this chance now to keep the tabs on Coventry. So I'm going to go Middlesbrough 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Takes me down to Millwall, who are flying high in 3rd, aren't they? Doing absolutely brilliantly. They had a 1-each draw at Derby midweek, following on from the 1-0 win at Bristol City. So 4 very, very good, well-earned points there. And they pick up against Hull this Saturday, and Hull themselves have climbed into the top 6. They had a decent 2-0 win over Wrexham. So, again, this is a battle of two teams that are really in pretty good form. I think Millwall might just do it. I'm going to give them home advantage to take count of this. Millwall 2, Hull City 1. Now down to Fratton Park, and what a big game this is potentially. As I say, Portsmouth struggling to score. Their home form isn't where it was last year yet, and that was the platform that gave them their championship status this year. Let's be perfectly honest. So they've got some soul searching to do. Well, John Mousinho and his board have, or his leadership team, whatever it is, have got to think about what they want to do in January. But before then, somebody said to me only yesterday, there are 10 games before the transfer window shuts. So that's a big chunk of the season they've still got to manipulate. Although they can start signing players on the 1st, I guess, or 2nd, or whatever it is. However, big time, big decisions and big pressure down at Portsmouth at the moment. Losing 1-0 at Swansea, as I said earlier. Blackburn, disappointingly for them, I think, drew at home to Oxford in a game that would have really catapulted them away. They're 5 points clear of Portsmouth, so if they can make it 8 with a win, that will be a real cushion for them. But I think Portsmouth will have to steel themselves and get something from this match. So I'm going to take it to be a 1-each draw. Portsmouth 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. 2 W's, Wrexham against Watford to finish Saturday's programme. Wrexham sort of making strides, and they have a little bit of a setback. And the setback was losing 2-0 to Hull in midweek. So they're back at home. The home form has been pretty good. They'll want to, and I think against Watford, who can be a bit creak a bit away from home, I think there's a good chance for Wrexham to get back on track here. I think they'll do that. Watford drew with Sheffield Wednesday, so Sheffield Wednesday picked up a handy point down at Watford in the week. So I think Watford's confidence is a bit fragile at the moment, and I'm going to give Wrexham a home win here. Wrexham 2, Watford 0. And we zip across to Monday. No game on Sunday. Monday is the final game. Sheffield Wednesday are the hosts, and they're hosting Derby. And Derby, 15th place, had that run of wins. Now they've sort of had 3 wins and a draw in the last 5 with a win somewhere in the middle of that. So what do I think of this one? I think they'll go to Sheffield Wednesday on Monday night and pick up the points, because they could have slid down the table a little bit more. Well, they can't go too far because they're 4 points. There's 4 points between them and team 2 places below them. So, but they will be feeling perhaps the pressure a little bit of the teams closing the gap, and they don't want that to happen again after such a good sort of autumn they had. They sort of started to slip. So I think they'll go to Sheffield Wednesday, close off this week's programme with an away win. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Derby County 2. There we go, everybody. That's it once again. Please, as the run-up to Christmas is in full swing, have a great weekend. Enjoy your football. There's plenty on offer this weekend, and not least in the 12 fixtures I've just gone through with you there. As always, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. It really, I say every week, But it is vital to the cause that these guys put together for us. I'm just a little bit part player a couple of times a week in all what they do. So good luck to all the teams involved, and I will see you again towards the back end of next week. As I said, we'll all go for a little bit of a football lie down for a few days. Have a great weekend. Take care, stay healthy, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.